Hello and welcome to the August 31st edition of Speedway Digest, Thursday night motorsports program on the internet. This is episode 261 of the series. I'm your host, Adam Jason Sinclair, and on tonight's program, we'll be talking about a little IMSA, maybe a little IndyCar, and what other motorsports pops into the conversation. First, let's go to the movies. This past weekend was National Cinema Day, when movie theaters across the country charged $4 to see your favorite films on the big screen. There were numerous new and old movies to choose from, including a 30th anniversary of the Jurassic Park movie. However, to go along with the theme of this show, we chose to see Gran Turismo. Based on a true story, the film is the ultimate wish-fulfillment ride of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won a series of Nissan competitions and became an actual professional race car driver. More specifically, the movie is based on the story of Jan Mardenborough, a teenage Gran Turismo player from the UK who used his virtual experience on the track to his advantage, becoming the third and youngest winner of the GT Academy competition. I've had the opportunity to see Mardenborough in person at the Rolex 24 Daytona before, so I was anxious to see how the film portrayed him. Overall, the acting, writing, and overall feel of the film was good. Sure, they played fast and loose with some of the story and competition, but for people who don't know more about it, it flowed very well and all made sense. Heck, even my wife, who was hardly described as a race fan, thoroughly enjoyed it. It has enough story to keep going, enough action to keep the fans interested, and enough human interest to inspire and entertain. All in all, everything a great movie should have. So, Mykkal, I know you haven't seen it yet, but are you planning on going out and seeing the Gran Turismo film?
I would like to see it. I think I would see it. I like good racing movies, and some of them they're kind of hard to find. But I'm always down to watch a good racing movie.
It was definitely that. It was formulaic. I mean, if you watch Days of Thunder or you watch The Need for Speed, heck, even if you watch Gone in 60 Seconds, it sort of followed the same sort of formula as that, where it had the car and the love interest and a little bit of drama. Most of that drama was fake, but you could tell. But it was still a really good movie. It was really, really interesting, and the fact that they actually had Jan Mardenborough involved in the film, he was did some of the stunt driving and that sort of stuff. It was kind of cool too.
I watched the trailer. Do you think that the trailer kind of does a good, like, how should I put this? Do you think the trailer is kind of, I mean, like I said, I've only seen the trailer, but do you think that is pretty similar to the process to
But
become a
it gives you an it gives you an idea of what it is, but there's a lot more to it than the trailer gives time. I think the trailer wants to aim at a certain audience and get people in the thing. But if you're a race fan, if you enjoy GT racing, if you enjoy prototype racing especially, and some of the tracks in Europe were really highlighted in it, it's a really good deal. Some of the stories that they told were they weren't necessarily true. They had some stuff from the crew chief and that sort of thing, or things that they embellished a little bit. But there were some incidents they mentioned that are true incidents. They didn't necessarily happen to Jan Mardenborough or any of his compatriots there. But it was definitely a really cool film. And by the end of it, the people in the whole theater, which was actually a packed theater, were applauding quite a bit. So it was really awesome.
Do you think it's comparable to, like, I don't want to say like the Fast and the Furious, because they've really kind of veered off a little bit from more of like the racing aspect, but which movie would you say that Gran Turismo would be more comparable to if you had to compare it to another racing movie?
If I had to compare it to another film, it would be Days of Thunder. But it doesn't have the stupid thing with him and the doctor. It has him and him of his school friends who go off and have their own little thing. But there's not that much drama. It's definitely sort of similar to Days of Thunder, where they got the older, more experienced racing guy who picks up the younger guy and tries to make him a better driver and all that. It was pretty cool. It was a great movie. Great to see a racing film in the Cineplex. Great to see one that's actually doing really well. It was the number one movie in the world over the past weekend. So took down Barbie. Took down Oppenheimer, so it was good. It was really cool.
Did that just come just come to theaters?
On Thursday was the first day. Yeah,
Oh wow, that's so brand spanking new.
yeah. It was really good. It was awesome. It was supposed to come out earlier in the month, but they kept pushing it back. I think they pushed it back because of the Oppenheimer thing. It was filmed in IMAX, and it's not in any IMAX theaters that I know of across the country, which is kind of sad. It'd be pretty awesome to see that on a really really big screen, but it was cool. It just the timing didn't quite work out as well, and it was pushed back also because they were supposed to have some bigger promotions with not only with the actors but with some race teams. That was kind of the reason why Catherine Legg is no longer competing in Xfinity, because she had a promotion going on with the as well. So the acting strike had a little bit to do with the promotion, but it's out now and it's really cool, and hopefully a lot of people go out and see it.
Yeah, I definitely think. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till it is able to be viewed on the TV. I think that would definitely be a good movie to watch.
Yeah, it would be. What's your favorite racing film? I know you mentioned a little bit earlier that you were keen on some other racing movies. What's your favorite racing movie you've seen?
My favorite racing movie, as a littler kid, I used to love the movie Kart Racer, and I think I've probably seen that movie like probably 1,000 times. I don't know. It was just a really good movie. But now that I'm a little bit older and stuff, my absolute favorite racing movie, Need for Speed. I really, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It was just I don't know. It's not so much like the game though. Like I don't know. I kind of thought it would be more like the game, but I think that's just because I mean, who didn't play Need for Speed? So,
Hmm?
but that is definitely my favorite racing movie. What is yours? I'm gonna guess Days of Thunder.
Yeah, I think Days of Thunder probably is to be for all time. I've seen that lots. I've actually spent time in Daytona going to the places there where it was filmed. I know some of the people who worked on the set. My father-in-law was one of the guys who held a fire extinguisher when they did that rental car scene on the beach there. So pretty fun. But I like other racing movies as well. Actually, I kind of like Speed Racer, which was really hokey, really really hokey. But I like Speed Racer. It's a fun little movie too. I like the actually liked Driven, the one with Sylvester Stallone, which is really it's almost as hokey as Speed Racer, only the effects are more. But that was fun too. I just like fun movies. The things that actually bring out the joy of racing, the joy of speed, and that sort of stuff. And there's plenty of those, but the Gran Turismo I think, is a step above a lot of the ones that have come out as of late, and it's pretty cool. You know,
Have you ever
hopefully,
seen the movie Wreck It Ralph?
I have it, but I haven't seen it. I have it on DVD, but I haven't seen the whole film. No.
Well, you should watch it. I really forgot about that movie, but yeah, that's a really good, cute little racing movie too.
Yeah, or Cars. All the Cars movies are good.
Oh, I forgot about Cars. How could
So
we forget about Cars?
you can't forget about Cars, but Cars are pretty. Cars, when I first saw it, that was really great. It kind of I don't think it ages well. As you get a little older, it's not exactly even just a teeny bit older. It's not as good as it was the first time. But it's really Cars is fun too. Like my dad loves Turbo, the one about the snail that's sort
Oh
of
yeah, that one
based on IndyCar racing. Dad thought that was pretty cool.
was.
So uh, there's a lot of great movies out there. Like I said, but Gran Turismo I think is one that if you haven't seen it yet and you have the chance to see it in a movie theater because it's on the big screen action, especially some of the racing sequences, is awesome. We weren't in the theater at the Regal Cinemas Royal Palm 18, but it was big enough, and the sound was really cool. So it's great. Um, but hopefully, Jan Martinborough has a little bit of pickup in his career. In the past few years, he hasn't been doing much. He did state in the posts an interview that he did prior to the movie coming out that he hopes that this helps his career. He didn't work for Nissan as a factory driver, and that didn't necessarily help his career. It helped his pocketbook, I suppose. It helped some things, but it basically turned him into a test driver for Nissan for a few years. and that's not what he was looking for in his career. He was looking for more actually on track success. But it talks a little bit. The movie talks a little bit about that, where they finished in third in the mile. That's not a big secret. People know that, especially if you followed any of the Gran Turismo or the GT Academy type stuff. I don't remember how well he did in Daytona, but I know they raced the same team with the Gran Turismo GT Academy guys. So it's fun. They embellished it quite a bit, but it was neat. Great movie. Good fun stuff. So let's go ahead and move on away from the movie to a little bit more on-track action that actually competes for race wins. But first, let's ask, are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're just... Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. I did just post an article on SpeedwayDigest.com. It's one of the featured articles. You're on SpeedwayDigest.com, the main section under featured articles at the top of the page, with the past guests of the show who didn't end up actually being able to come on the show. So he did do a full interview with me. Posted all those answers on SpeedwayDigest.com. It's the guy who was the reality show guy who's now more interested in racing. So be sure to check that out. It's not exactly the most modern racing centric thing because he did a lot of motocross and he hadn't really got into 4-wheel cars as much yet, but he is trying, and I think he'll be making some waves in the future. So be sure to check that out in the featured news section. While we're on the subject of racing movies, have you seen the trailer for the new movie Ferrari? Looks like it could be interesting as well, with the racing films coming out. I wonder whether it will help or hurt the actual sport. With that in mind, as the World Endurance Championship season returns from a summer break at 6 hours of Fuji next weekend, September 8th through the 10th, we anxiously await the sound of prototypes and feel of power and technology.
Popular with drivers and spectators due to its rich history and exceptional location at the foot of the iconic Mount Fuji, the circuit was rebuilt in 2005 and is renowned for its fast layout, including a 1.5-kilometer long straight at 0.563 kilometers. It is also the shortest circuit of the FIA WEC season. This year, 7 Japanese drivers, Kobayashi, Ryo Hirakawa, Hiroshi Kozumi, Takeshi Kimura, Kozolino, Satoshi Hoshino, and Tomonobu Fuji. Wow, I know I just really pronounced all those wrong, and I'm sorry if anyone's listening. Will be present. After Monza, Ferrari finds itself on enemy soil to fight for the title. With 152 points in the overall standings, leader Toyota currently has a 26-point lead over its closest rival, Ferrari. However, with a total of 65 points, still up 25 at Fuji and 38 at Bahrain, plus an extra point for the pole position at each meeting, the Transalpine brand still has a chance of catching the reigning.
I'd love it if any of the Japanese drivers you just mentioned were listening to the show. I'd love to have Kamui Kobayashi on the program. I've seen him a few times. He's raced in Daytona as well. He's pretty awesome. Don't know much about Hakikawa or Kozumi. I've seen Kimura once or twice. Kozolino, I think, raced in Sebring. Hoshino has been in this country as well. And Fuji, he races pretty much everywhere. But it would be great if any of those guys, if they're actually listening, we apologize for butchering your name a little bit, but we'd love to have you on the program, so be sure to contact us. Awesome. Toyota's on a 5-race winning streak at Fuji, its home race. In total, the Japanese manufacturer has won 8 of the 9 races, beaten only once by Porsche in 2000. In the FIA World Endurance Championship Hypercar Drivers title, the number 8 team of Brendan Hartley, Sebastian Buemi, and Ryo Hirakawa leads the standings by 23 points over the number 7 sister team of Jose Maria Lopez, Kamui Kobayashi, and Mike Conway. The Le Mans winning number 51 AF Course team of Jaime Collado, Alessandro Pierguidi, and Antonio Giannazzi, also in second place. I'm looking forward to seeing how many of these teams and drivers make the trip across the pond for the Road 24 Daytona. I know some of them have competed in Sebring before, but they're not going to be doing that next year. We shall see. Speaking of Daytona, last week's action on track attracted way too much attention from outside the racing world, as Ryan Preece flipped and spun across the superstretch in ways that NASCAR Cup cars aren't supposed to do anymore. They're never supposed to do them anyway, but definitely not now. Aside from the obvious technical review to see what actually happened, racers, especially Denny Hamlin, have once again called for the removal of much of the sod at the historic Speedway. This seems to me to be a blame the grass type mentality. But what do you think about the accident last weekend? Did you see it? I know you were watching the race and live. All I saw were some highlights of it.
I did see it. I can't quite remember why it happened or how it happened, but I did see it. And the one of the things that stands out to me the most about that wreck is watching his car literally do 3 flips in a row before it even touched the ground again. So like that was just wild to me. Like I've never seen a car do like 3 barrel rolls in the air before it even touches the ground. So it was a pretty violent crash, But, I don't know if the grass is necessarily the problem here.
No, it seems like Denny Hamlin's just looking for excuses to get rid of the grass because he's had some issues in the past where he's gone down and lost control of the car by hitting the grass. The car from Daytona was in the air before it actually got to any grass there. It was in the air when it got off to the guy hit it. It started flying. When it got sideways, it's not supposed to do that. Ryan Newman helped them design it a little bit to try and eliminate that because he has the engineering degree, aeronautics engineering. But it seemed like something was wrong, and I don't know why it got that violent or what happened exactly. But I do know that Ryan Preece was actually able to get out of the car. He walked out, he walked around, and he only spent one night in the hospital, which is awesome. And he's apparently going to be racing again this weekend, which I don't know if it's the best idea, but it's one of those sort of things you get back on the horse or whatever. But on that same topic, people like Kurt Busch from last season, actually 2 years ago now, who announced his retirement this past weekend because he was never able to fully recover from his accident where he had the concussion. Going back quite a ways to actually a past guest in the program, Ernie Irvan, who never really fully recovered after his accident in the 90s. So even Dale Earnhardt Jr. never recovered fully. And then you go to a more modern thing with the Simon Pagenaud in IndyCar, who had the same sort of flips, who flipped over and over and over and over again over the top of he was over the top of a gravel trap, so you can't really regarding that. And he's still out of this car. He might not even make the rest of the season, is what I saw earlier, I think yesterday. So these cars, they're safer than they used to be because for some of these crashes, the people would never walk away. Some of them never walk again. Some of them they may not even breathe ever again. But the cars are safer, and yet people still get some pretty serious injuries, head injuries, and that sort of thing if they stop way too suddenly. So I think that's probably part of Ryan Preece's thing is he didn't stop suddenly. He kept going, and it tore the car to bits around him, but didn't tear into him much. It all broke away the way it's supposed to, and that's a wonderful thing. But they do need to do a little bit more work. Safety is a moving target, as they say, and so hopefully they get stuff worked out, and hopefully the cars become safer. They need to concentrate as well on safety people in the grandstands, which I know they've been working on for a long time, moving around and adjusting the fencing and that sort of stuff. So safety is better now than it used to be, but always improve a little bit. There aren't any easy answers, and that's kind of part of the deal of the sport. So we'll see how it goes this weekend. I know they've got some good racing coming up this weekend as well. Next weekend, of course, we've got the Fuji race coming up in about a month. Actually, I think like 3 weeks now is the SRO race in Sebring that we're heading out to. That'll be very cool to do that. And probably won't get to ride in the pace car this year, although that was pretty neat last year. But it'll be fun. And for those of you who are interested in South Florida or in Central Florida or even anywhere in this region, and you're looking for a fairly inexpensive, great racing weekend, I'd head over to Sebring on the 21st. I think it's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of September. So got a bunch of great racing there, and they never have a whole lot of people. So I'd recommend that highly. It's going to be a really great weekend of racing. I'm probably going to be there on Saturday. I think that's the day we're going to be heading over there. So if you see me, I'll be the guy who's wearing probably a Kyle Busch shirt, but won't guarantee that. But if you see a guy in a bright yellow Kyle Busch shirt, there's an odds are that it's probably me, and I'll be there watching the racing this next weekend. What's the next big race you're looking for out there? I know that there's a bunch of racing coming out there in the next few weeks. IndyCar is going to be there, I think, this next weekend in Portland.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I know at the kind of the middle of September, there's an event in Othello. I think it's a demo derby or something like that. And those are fun, but I don't know. But then in Tri-Cities at their cool little track, which is like an hour and a half from me, they do have their big, they call it the Fall Classic coming up. So I would like to attend that. I really would. We'll see how it kind of plays out. But we keep picking up race cars. So I think next season, hopefully we'll have more to report on the on-track stuff. But I don't know, kind of just going with the flow. But there's a few races I would like to check out. It just, like I said, it just sometimes doesn't quite work that way.
I know they had the Formula Drift event there a couple weeks ago I think that was in Seattle. So there's a lot of racing going on in that part of the country right now. I know that the weather is probably the best it's going to be for that part of the country for the summer. I know it's been hotter than heck out there. It's hotter than here out there most days. So interesting weather this summer. But there's a lot of motorsports going on right now, and we're trying to get our hands on as many of them as we can and bring them to you. Next week, we're going to probably be talking to a guy who's involved in hybrid technology, some of it for motorsports, a lot of it for the commercial realm. So we get a chance to talk to him. Some battery technology is really hyping up on. So that might be cool. I know Toyota has just started a new program in Europe for their next generation of not only racing cars, but commercial cars as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. A lot of great stuff happening, a lot of great people reaching out and things that are going pretty well this year. So hopefully it only gets better. And we're here to tell you about it as it does. With that, I think we're going to make it a little shorter show this week. I know that we haven't had a show in a couple weeks, and I'm very happy for your support. What I'd ask for you to do is go ahead and go to speedwaydigest.podbean.com, check out past episodes. The latest one about the Box Club, that was on August 10th. You might want to check that out. It's pretty cool talking to those guys. And we do have a lot of great people lined up for the future. So as soon as I know who they are, you'll be the first people to know. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder, as I just did, as well as the other shows on Speedway Digest Radio Network at speedwaydigest.podbean.com. You can also check out the show on Facebook by searching for Speedway Digest Thursday Night Thunder in the search bar. Also go on your favorite streaming sites. You can find it online, all different places now. So that's pretty awesome. You can find us on YouTube as well most of the time. Although it's just an audio thing, still pretty cool. Also invite you to read the articles covering all aspects of motorsports at speedwaydigest.com. I did post quite a few articles the past few days in the racing news section, including the one that's the featured interview. So be sure to check that out. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise on my blog site, Rovarblum's Fantastic Finds. It can be found on Facebook, Twitter, that's at PBHappening, the easiest way to find it there. And by heading Fantastic Finds, it's FABORPLUMBS, fantasticfinds.wordpress.com.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again next week in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing.
Have a great night, and thanks again.